The only conspiracy theory here is what you're hearing from Ben Shapiro, who has a difficult time understanding why anyone would be critical of a government and a military that just carried out a genocide in the Gaza Strip and is currently stealing land in the West Bank.
If you go on X, you're going to get a lot more likes and clicks if you are promoting an anti-Israel, anti-Semitic agenda than if you do the opposite. Same thing is true on TikTok.
So is it a financial thing? Or?
No, I think some of it's financial. I think some of it is that these people tend to believe in a lot of conspiracy theory about how the world works. And virtually every conspiracy theory at the end of it, unfortunately, is a Jew. Because where all the conspiracy theories go to is, and then who's successful, right? And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on,
that was all our problem.
well, right, so they were good. Well, so the
Right? Like we used to.
I mean, if you are on the left, then you say there are people in society who have benefited from our systems of power. Who are the people who are well-educated and rich? Disproportionately, a lot of Jews are well-educated and rich. Therefore, Jews are the bad guy. And you see a sort of horseshoe argument that's happening from the right, where the idea is that, there are a lot of very wealthy, powerful, rich people in American society who are Jewish, and therefore they're in control of all the things I don't like. No, never mind that that's actually not even statistically true.
Ah, yes. People hate Israel because they're jealous of the Jews. It has nothing to do with the fact that Israeli prison guards were caught raping Palestinian detainees who hadn't been committed of any crimes, hadn't been accused of any crimes, hadn't been charged of any crimes. And then when it looked like there might be punishment for them, there were mass protests preventing that punishment because apparently Israeli prison guards raping innocent Palestinians is totally okay. I'm sure that had nothing to do with people, criticizing Israel. And by the way, don't think I, miss the obvious conflation of Israel and Jewish people globally, worldwide. The criticism that Ben Shapiro was referring to there, Cenk, is the criticism leveled at Israel, a foreign country with a foreign government in the middle of atrocities and genocide. And for the first time in a long time, or maybe ever, you have members of the right wing who are being vocal in their criticism against Israel. And number one, I'm here for it. Number two, it's not a conspiracy theory. Okay, the only conspiracy theory here is what you're hearing from Ben Shapiro, who has a difficult time understanding why anyone would be critical of a government and a military that just carried out a genocide in the Gaza Strip and is currently stealing land in the West Bank.
Yeah, so lots to break down already from that. So am I allowed to say the same things he said, or am I not allowed to say? Because he said Jews are disproportionately wealthy and powerful.
No, you're not allowed to say that.
Okay, he's allowed to say it.
Yeah.
But if I say it, I instantly turn it into an anti-Semite, right?
100%.
I'm just trying to clarify the rules.
Yep.
Okay,
Seems
so
like you get them.
or is Ben Shapiro an anti-Semite? No, two different rules. If a Jewish person or an Israeli supporter says it, and someone who isn't says it. Interesting. Okay, so then his conspiracy theory is. Our theory is that people are mad at Israel because they committed a genocide in front of the entire world. We all saw it, right?
And keep taking.
So that's our theory. Yeah. And they said you owe us money for a genocide. You owe us money forever, and we've taken 310 billion from America. We want more, and you owe it to us, right?
Yep.
And we think that that's bothering people. And we think that we know that the Israeli lobby is given to 90% of members of Congress, and that 90% votes with them every single time. So we think that it might be the hundreds of millions of dollars, or the billions of dollars actually overall, that is influencing their vote. That's our theory. His theory is they don't like rich Jews. Okay, now which one is more likely to be true? But in their mind, for Israeli supporters, they all believe that he's right. They're like, just because Israel's committing a genocide and completely controlling 90% of Congress, people pretend they're being upset. They're just upset because we're better than them. I mean, richer than them.
Yeah. It is kind of amazing because one thing that I noticed throughout the last 2 years in the various debates that I've engaged in with Israel supporters is their arguments and their rebuttals, if there is a rebuttal as opposed to a personal attack or a tampon being thrown in your direction, is a dog crap. They have no rebuttal. And part of the reason why is because, well, they're delusional. They live in a delusional environment where none of them have ever done anything wrong. The only people who hate them only hate them because they're jealous. So when you live in that type of mindset and you think, well, we're perfect and we've never done anything wrong, Well, you're not gonna have a rebuttal when you're confronted with cold, hard facts.
And the second thing that he's saying there, and there's more where that came from that's really interesting, is now he's full on attacking the right wing.
That's exactly right. That's what this is all about.
And he's saying the schmucks who listen to me, they're a bunch of conspiratorial minded anti-Semites.
Yep.
And he's got more insults where that came from. So then which side are you on? You're certainly not on the left. You're not on the right anymore, and you hate the right because they're all anti-Semites. Oh, let me guess, the only side you're on is Israel's side. Oh, what a coincidence. Wang Jun is one of our members on TYT.com. He wrote in earlier about a different topic we were covering, but it's perfect for this. He said, Adelson is everything they accuse Soros of being. So even if Ben Shapiro were correct, and oh my God, the right wing has all these conspiracies against people who are funding American politicians who happen to be Jewish. Brother, the number one time that happened was George Soros. That was said 1 billion times by your side, and you never stopped them. You encouraged it and encouraged it and encouraged it. And now all of a sudden, because Soros is Jewish, but he's not for Israel, okay?
He's not for Israel?
No.
Interesting.
Okay, he's actually been, he's sympathetic to the Palestinians.
Oh,
So that's why Ben Shapiro and his ilk were like, oh, you wanna do a conspiracy theory about this Jew who's controlling all the politicians? Yeah, who cares? We don't mind anti-Semitism at all, because he's not sufficiently loyal to Israel.
I didn't know that about George Soros. So let me just say, I want all the money out. I don't want George Soros buying prosecutors in cities like Los Angeles.
Or anyone.
Or anyone, okay? I want all the money out.
Yes.
But yeah, I've never once heard Ben Shapiro talk about the influence of the Adelsons and how incredibly nefarious that is, especially when all of their lobbying has to do with benefiting a foreign country on the dime of US taxpayers. But anyway, yes, he is attacking what he now refers to as the exceptionally conspiratorial right wing. He feels that they have taken control of social media, which is super rich, seeing as X and TikTok are becoming Israeli propaganda machines, and it's not an accident. It was very much planned. If you don't know, let me remind you of what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said recently himself.
But we have to fight with the weapons that apply to the battlefields in which we're engaged. And the most important ones are the social media. And the most important purchase that is going on right now is followers. TikTok, number one. And I hope it goes through because it can be consequential. And the other one, what's the other one that's most important? X.
If you didn't catch this, later go back and listen to that clip again, because as Netanyahu asks, and the most important purchase is, and a bunch of people are like yelling out like what Israel needs to buy up online to basically control the narrative. One of the influencers said, bots?
Because they know the Israelis are doing bots all over social media.
It's so
they're like, oh, we buy the bots, right? And then that influences everybody and makes it seem like people are on Israel's side when it's just like 3 of us, right?
Yep.
And he's like, oh, shh, no, not that one. TikTok, that's bigger.
Shapiro said young people are drawn to the conspiracy theories against Israel because of the message that the problems in their own lives are not their fault and they can be solved by externalizing those problems onto a different group, adding, quote, you get a lot more likes and clicks if you are promoting an anti-Israel, anti-Jewish. I don't see people promoting an anti-Jewish. I mean, look, there are definitely some, handles like unidentified people, anonymous people on X who say gross anti-Semitic things. But that's not what's bothering Shapiro. The anti-Semitic comments on social media have existed forever. What's bothering Shapiro is the criticism toward Israel. And he is conflating it with anti-Semitism. Let me just repeat for the billionth time. Being critical of a foreign country does not make you anti-Semitic. Being critical of the Armenian government is not gonna lead to me accusing you of being anti-Armenian. You're being critical of a foreign government. It is your right to do that without being smeared, by the way, as someone who's hateful or bigoted. Anyway, anti-Jewish agenda, then if you are doing the opposite, virtually every conspiracy theory ends up pointing at the Jews because the narrative needs a villain, and it is easier to recycle an old one than to make an honest argument. Well, the honest argument, Ben, is that the US taxpayers who have gone into debt to bankroll Israel's expansionist project are sick of it, both on the left and the right. They're sick of their money bankrolling atrocities all over the Middle East. They're sick of a foreign country, Israel, goading the United States into fighting wars on its behalf. Whether it be Libya, Syria, Iraq, Iran. How many American soldiers need to die on behalf of Israel for you to feel that this country is adequately pro-Israel to your liking?
Yeah, so we keep saying Israel and they keep saying Jews.
On purpose.
Yeah, and we keep saying, guys, don't do that because then you're smearing all Jews. And they go, yeah, I know that we're smearing you by pretending that you're smearing all Jews when it's actually us doing it. Well, you never said Jews, you kept saying Israel, but who cares? We're gonna lie about it, right? So that goes to the point, I'm gonna go back to Soros for a second. Because okay, now Adelson's on the right. So you can say, well, maybe he was criticizing Soros because he's on the left and he helps Democrats and Adelson's helping the Republicans, etc. So it's blah, blah, blah. Okay, but wait a minute. Haim Saban is another billionaire who's a massive Democratic donor. He might be a larger donor to the Democrats than George Soros is. Now, Haim Saban, just like George Soros, happens to be a Jewish billionaire, right? But Soros is sympathetic to the Palestinians. Haim Saban is a massive pro-Israel zealot, okay? And he bought off the Clintons and almost, yeah, I mean, him along with many other donors have gotten the entire Democratic establishment on their side. So it's interesting as Saban and Soros are pouring money into the Democratic politicians, that guys like Ben Shapiro and almost all the other right wing never once criticized Haim Saban.
Well, he's a good boy.
Never once even mentioned his name. Soros, 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 right? So it isn't about being Jewish. It's about whether you're pro-Israel or not sufficiently pro-Israel. So since Soros was not sufficiently enough pro-Israel, they smeared the living crap out of him. Even if it's an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, they didn't care at all, right? But when it's Saban doing the same exact thing, they're like, no, 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 shh, shh. No, 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 he's helping purchase the Democrats for Israel, so you're not allowed to talk about him at all. So now break down the quote that Anna read you, the first one. He says, they're trying to, the right-wing voters are trying to pretend the problems in their lives are not their fault. So what he's saying is, hey, right-wingers, it's your fault. All your problems are yours, okay? No one else created them. Shut up and blame yourself. Okay, fascinating, but wait a minute. Now look, if you didn't work hard enough for this or that, I get it, right? But on the other hand, if you worked your ass off, but now housing prices are higher because Blackstone is buying all the houses and driving up demand and supply, driving up demand so that it moves the prices up, that's not entirely your fault. Well, our politicians could stop them, but they're choosing not to. Well, then that's partially the politicians' fault. Wait a minute, drug prices, drugs cost us much less in other countries, developed nations, same exact drugs, but they charge us an arm and a leg. And they say we're not even allowed to negotiate drug prices. Why? Because our politicians said that we don't have to negotiate drug prices. So it's not our fault that drug prices are high, it's our politicians' fault. And are the politicians all being bought off by Jews? No, no. They're being bought off by ExxonMobil and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson and Lockheed Martin and Raytheon and all these countries, and companies, but also foreign governments like Israel, right? So we're fair and honest about it. We tell you what is actually causing the problem. But Ben Shapiro doesn't want you to see what's actually causing the problem, which is money in politics overall. Because he's not just in favor of Israel, he's also in favor of corporate rule. So that's why you've seen him defend giant corporations and the super rich over and over again. And he says whenever you criticize legitimately them bribing our politicians legally, he goes, oh, you're just being bitter. It's all your fault. You should work harder. You're a bum, right-wingers. And you're now trying to blame good, honest people who are supporting Israel. Shut up and give me your money. Otherwise, it's your fault, you anti-Semite, believe in crazy conspiracy theories. Shut up and listen to my show, and shut up and support Israel. That's what he's saying, by the way, not here in America. He went to Israel to say that.
Yeah, that's right. He was speaking to the Jerusalem Post. Final thing I'll mention is that one of the statements that Shapiro has made in the past is that he would be willing to change the United States Constitution so Benjamin Netanyahu would be allowed to run for president of the United States.
Oh, come
That's who Ben Shapiro is.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.